Thanks everyone. We're from Tutorial 1 Group 2, and today we'll be presenting Chapter 7, Structuring and Designing Organizations. Our contents include discussion questions, Case Application 1, Turbulence of United Air, Case Application 2, Lift Off, and a Kahoot quiz. Without further ado, allow me to dive into our discussion questions. Firstly, discuss the 6 key concepts defining organization design. There are 6 key concepts, including work specialization, which is dividing work activities into separate job tasks. The second one would be departmentalization, referring to how work activities are grouped together. Span of control, referring to the number of employees a manager supervises directly. Authority and responsibility, which are rights inherent in a managerial position to give orders and expect the orders to be obeyed. Centralization versus decentralization. Centralization is the degree to which decision-making takes place at upper levels of organization, whereas decentralization is the degree to which lower-level managers provide input or actually make decisions. And lastly, formalization, referring to how standardized an organization's jobs are and the extent to which employee behavior is guided by rules and procedures. Moving on to the next question. What are the concepts of traditional and contemporary organizational design? Will these designs be influenced differently by management and the environment? So a traditional organization is also known as mechanistic organization or also known as bureaucracy. As we have learned in class, it is a rigid and tightly controlled structure, requires high specialization, rigid departmentalization, clear chain of command, and centralized decision-making, which is top-down decision-making. On the other hand, a contemporary organization is also known as an organic organization. It is a highly adaptive and flexible structure, where duties and tasks are adaptable, only a few rules are needed, informal communication ongoing, and decentralized decision authority. As you can see through the table, a traditional design has strong control over the organization and enforces centralized decision-making, as this structure is designed to maintain order and control. From the aspect of environmental influence, it is less adaptable to changes because they are more rigid, which may limit the organization's ability to respond to market shifts or technological advances. As for contemporary organization, they act as a facilitator rather than a controller, which means they focus on empowering employees, fostering innovation, and creating an environment that encourages collaboration. A contemporary organization is also more influenced by environmental changes because they are structured to be more agile and responsive as markets, technology, and societal needs evolve rapidly. Compared to the strengths and weaknesses of a functional structure, what are the strengths and weaknesses of a simple structure? In a functional structure, the organization are able to gain cost-saving advantages from specialization in terms of economies of scale, minimal duplication of people and equipment. Also, employees are grouped with others who have similar tasks. On the contrary, the pursuit of functional goals can cause managers to lose sight of what's best for the overall organization. Furthermore, functional specialists become insulated and have little understanding of what other units are doing. An organization with a simple structure is fast, flexible, inexpensive to maintain, and has clear accountability. However, it is not appropriate as the organization grows and the reliance on one person is risky. That's all from me. Thank you.
And now I will continue to report, which is discussion question number 4, discussion question number 5, and also summary of case application 1. So the question for discussion question number 4 is, contrast the design of boundaryless organization and a structureless organization. Explain the point of contrast with examples. So first, hierarchy. The point is hierarchy. In boundaryless organization that eliminates traditional hierarchical level by maintaining a clear organizational structure, so they will more encourage cross-functional collaboration. But in structureless organization, there's no formal hierarchy. Next, decision making. In boundaryless organization, the idea will come from employees but were guided by a team leader to make decision. And in structureless organization, decision making is decentralized and will made by employees. Next, role definition. In boundaryless organization, roles are defined but collaborative, and in structureless organization, there's no fixed role and employees will take responsibility based on their interests and skill. The example for boundaryless organization is General Electric (GE), which they aim to have a balance between structures and flexibility. And the example for structureless organization is Web Corporation, which is more focused on individual autonomy. Next, the question for discussion question number 5 is contrast mechanistic and organic organization. That's the structure. In mechanistic organization, they have a clear hierarchical structure, and in organic organization, they are more flexible and less emphasized on hierarchy. Next, the size. For a mechanistic organization, the size is large, where the employees are more than 2,000, and in organic organization, the size is small, which their employees are less than 2,000. Next, decision making. In mechanistic organization, the decision making is centralized, which the decision were made by top management. And in organic organization, the decision making is decentralized, where the employees have authority to make decision. So the example for mechanistic organization is government department, and for organic organization is technology company. So now I'll move to summary of case application 1. And the title of this case application is Turbulence of United A. And the topic is organization structure and employees' behavior. So the first point is several incidents happen due to a variety of rules, regulation, and protocol between customer and United A employees interaction. Second, 2 teenagers were denied boarding for wearing leggings because of violating the United Airlines travel program. Third, passengers with travel prep passes and those benefiting from airlines employees perk are subject to a stricter dress code than regular passenger. Number 4, four passengers of the flight from Chicago to Louisville are selecting for removal to give up their seat to 4 United employees. Number 5, Dr. Dao, who declined the lift, was getting injured when the airport police officer pulling him out of his seat was forcibly removing him from the plane. Number 6, viral videos about the Dr. Dao incident had damaged United's brand image. Number 7, Michael and Amber, a soon-to-be wed couple, were removed from the flight after they were moving to a different seat without permission, despite claiming they were trying not to disturb another passenger. Number 8, a passenger's dog died after being placed in the overhead compartment as instructed by a flight attendant. Number 9, United Air employees have limited flexibility when dealing with day-to-day policy issues. The last, number 10, employees are reluctant to deviate from the rules due to the risk of termination as punishment. So next I will pass to my teammate Dong Yi to continue his part, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Now I will go to the question in case study 1. The first question is, evaluate how United Airlines handled each of these incidents. Do you think that United Airlines was within its power to respond the way its employee did? Why or why not? The first incidents, lagging incidents. United Airlines enforced a non-standing policy that required individuals enjoying the perks of airlines employment to present themselves in a way that reflect positively on the airlines. However, their response was defensive and lack of empathy, as it failed to clarify that the passengers involved were not regular passengers. Yes, I think that United Airlines was within its power to enforce dress code policy to travel riders. However, United Airlines should have better communicated this policy to both employees and travel pass riders to prevent such incidents. And the second incident is Dr. Tao incidents. United Airlines invoked the airline's involuntary denial of boarding policy to remove Dr. Tao, his wife, and a couple. Police officers come after Dr. Tao declined to leave, and police officer pulling him out of his seat, and Dr. Tao suffered a broken nose and concussions after his head was smashed into an armrest. This incident was captured and viral on social media. And yes, I think that the United Airlines is within the power to remove the passengers under its contract carriage. However, these incidents reflect a failure in judgment and customer care. While United had the legal authorities, the enforcement was mishandled. The next incident is wedding couple incidents. A couple noticed a man sleeping in the seat assigned to them. Instead of disturbing him, they accidentally sat in empty upgraded seats. However, a US Marshal approached them and removed them from the plane. Yes, United Airlines was within its powers. The airlines had the authorities to enforce seating assignment and ensure compliance with crew instructions. However, these decisions represented an over-enforcement of rules and could have been handled more diplomatically. And the next incident is pet bag incidents. A flight attendant instructed a passenger to place her dog in the overhead compartment, and this resulted in the dog dead in the plans. After that, United Airlines admitted that this was not policy and expressed regrets. This incident raised serious concern about employee training and judgment of United Airlines. Now, I think that this is not within their power because there is not a policy about should put the animal in the overhead compartments. The second question is, how would you describe United Airlines' view of formalizations? Do you think that it is appropriate? Explain. From my point of view, United Airlines' view of formalization are strictly adherence to their rules, policies, and procedures to ensure operation efficiency and standardizations. This can show by the way a company handled the incidents where the employee followed the policy, although there is lack of empathy. I think that it is inappropriate in customer-facing situations. They strictly adherence to rules without room for flexibility lead to negative outcome in several high-profile incidents, damaging customer relationship and the airline's reputations. Using information from the chapter about the contingency factors that favor either the mechanistic or the organic models of organizations design, what do you think United Airlines organization structure should resemble? Be sure to think about this in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. First, strategy. United Airlines focus on operational efficiency such as optimizing boarding processes or maximizing passenger capacity, which stem with the goal of the mechanistic structure who want to reducing costs over innovational or flexibility. Second, size. The size of mechanistic structures is a large organization with numerous employees with more than 2,000 employees. While the employees at United Airlines are more than 2,000 employees, which is a mechanistic structure. And the third, technology. United Airlines flight scheduling and fleet maintenance are standardized processes that benefit from a mechanistic model to ensure timely and efficient operations. This shows that it is an mechanistic structure. And the last one, environment. A stable environment are considered as mechanistic structures. United Airlines always obey their policy to create a stable environment. Those come with a negative outcome. So in conclusions, I think that the United Airlines is mechanistic of structures. The next question is, what do you think United Airlines should do in the future? What suggestions or enhancements may you have for its organization structures? In the future, United Airlines should utilize hybrid organization structures that combine the strength of mechanistic structures with organic structures. In this case, United Airlines can significantly improve both in efficiency and leading to a better customer experience. The suggestions I give is employee empowerment. This will allow the gate agents, flight attendants, and customer service representatives more decision-making power when it comes to customer service issues. This will speed up the decision-making time and improve customer satisfaction. And the second is training in conflict resolutions. Provide all customer-facing employees with training in conflict resolutions and emotional intelligence to help them manage situations without resorting to strict rule enforcement. The last question is, how do employee actions reflect an organization's stance as far as being responsible and ethical? How might United managers encourage employees to be more responsible and ethical, even when rules must be followed? First of all, employees are often faced with a dilemma between following policies and their ethical responsibility to treat customers empathically and respectfully. When employees strictly follow policies without considering the customer context, it reflects a culture that's prioritizing rules over responsibilities. The best example of this is the Total Talk incident, which explores a culture's focus on enforcing rules without regard for how this action might impact individuals in real-life situations. The United managers should develop ethical guidelines for policy enforcement. They should come up with a clear ethical standard. For example, United Airlines should formalize ethical guidelines that outlines how to balance policies with ethical considerations in day-to-day operations. Managers can offer practical examples of how employees can make ethical decisions even when following the rules. For example, when dealing with overbooking or customer complaints, employees could be trained to consider the emotional impact on passengers and act accordingly, offering a reasonable solutions while adhering to core policies.
I'm going to take over from now. I'm going to walk you guys through the summary for case application 2 with the title of Managing the Knowledge Resources of NASA. By NASA, NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and it is a part of the United States government. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the summary for this case. So to start, we'll talk about NASA's vision and their mission. So NASA's vision is about exploring the unknown for the benefit of humanity, and their mission focuses on advancing science, technology, and space exploration to enhance knowledge, innovation, and Earth stewardship. So over the years, NASA has achieved major milestones, such as the Apollo missions. I'm sure you know what is that. If you don't, that's the moon landing mission, and the Space Shuttle program, which all highlight the importance of having talented teams and effective knowledge sharing systems. But however, after the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011, NASA faced challenges in defining its next steps. They felt uncertain about their goals. But despite this, the organization still set big goals, such as sending their astronauts to Mars by the year 2030. NASA also had some achievement recently to show that they continue to innovate. So for instance, in 2014, they successfully tested the Orion spacecraft, which demonstrate their ability to manage resources and knowledge effectively. NASA also excels at managing advanced technology and stakeholders, how to share their knowledge effectively across the organization as they operate in a highly complicated environment. Because of NASA's highly complicated organization, NASA's require a solid organizational structure to support knowledge sharing and smooth operations efficiently across the organization. But despite all the tools that we have and they have right now, NASA still struggles with sharing knowledge across the organization and their stakeholders. To support all these efforts, NASA also uses a variety of tools like collaboration platforms, video libraries, and a special search engine to manage its knowledge resources. NASA also has systems to share their lessons learned, to connect their experts from different locations, and encourage collaboration through workshops and forums. As a conclusion, the leaders at NASA also understand that effective knowledge sharing is crucial to their success and future achievements of the organization, and they work hard to ensure this is done right. So that's all from me. Thanks.
Good day, my name is Sydney and I'll be presenting for the second case application, which is lift off related to the topic of learning organization and knowledge resources. So for the first question, would you call NASA a learning organization? Why or why not? In my opinion, yes, I would call NASA a learning organization because it inherits multiple characteristics of a learning organization itself, which are mental model, knowledge sharing, and continuous learning. So first and foremost, mental model. NASA's team has a really clear understanding of how the organization functions and its own structure, including its vision, mission, and ongoing projects. From the case application provided, it is mentioned that NASA's vision is to reach for new heights and reveal the unknown for the benefit of humankind. On the other hand, its mission is to drive advances in science, technology, aeronautics, and space exploration to enhance knowledge, education, innovation, economic vitality, and stewardship of the Earth. So this shows that NASA has a really clear direction of where they're headed and what they want to do in order to achieve their goals, which could provide proper guidance for their own employees in whatever that they're doing, so that they're on the right track. Furthermore, NASA is also a learning organization because it practices knowledge sharing, where in the case application, it is also mentioned that NASA has identified and started utilizing a lot of knowledge sharing activities in order to ensure that all information is passed down to each and every member of the organization. And from this, the team learns from each other through these activities conducted, whether it's online or physically. So some of the online knowledge sharing activities conducted involves online tools like collaboration and sharing sites, video libraries, portals, etc. Whereas the physical knowledge sharing activities involve forums, workshops, and other social exchanges, including the Apollo lunar landing missions, the Skylab space station, and the space shuttle that all of us are generally aware of. So it is clear that NASA actually acknowledges how important knowledge sharing is in its organization, in considering it actually gains a lot of knowledge, a lot of valuable knowledge from its researchers and also the ongoing projects that they have. So they are actually putting in a lot of effort in order to share this knowledge among each and every member of the organization. Last but not least, NASA is also practicing this mindset where they believe in continuous learning among the organization. So, based on the case application provided, NASA is actually trying to figure out what is the best way to manage the vast amount of knowledge gained, like I mentioned, within their own project teams as well as across the entire organization. This actually provides a very positive and supportive learning environment for the team where they are open to make mistakes and learn from them. So, from the reference column where I've attached a couple of pictures with highlighted text, which you can see, I am actually emphasizing on how NASA is critical to achieving the goals that they set, such as putting astronauts on Mars by 2030 and getting to an asteroid by 2025, which leads them to be aware of the importance of knowledge sharing activities conducted throughout the entire organization, and they really do work a lot on trying to find the best way to do so. So this is actually, there's no denying that it's a very difficult challenge for NASA, considering it's a very huge organization with many employees, and also not to mention the amount of knowledge that they gain each and every day throughout their researches and also their own projects conducted. Plus, it is also mentioned here that NASA has had many successful endeavors as well as some tragic failures, which we do not talk about. But from here you can tell that NASA is a learning organization because it makes mistakes. They make mistakes and they learn from their own mistakes and try not to repeat their mistakes. And I think this is like the fundamental concept of a learning organization which NASA actually has. Moving on to the next question, in what ways is NASA's environment complex? So the complexity in NASA's environment are actually due to multiple reasons, which I've broken down into three, which is technical complexity, ongoing projects, and demands from stakeholders. So these three reasons are actually completely based off of the case application provided, which I've attached an image on your on your left, where we've highlighted text. Okay. First and foremost, technical complexity. There's no doubt that NASA will actually require edge-cutting technology and expertise in various fields like engineering, physics, and data science in order to make the ideas or concepts that they have in their minds or that they've planned out to actual reality. So, for instance, some of the many achievements that NASA has done with the technology and the high quality people that they have is getting men on the moon, not only once but 6 times, putting a rocket into space with a shuttle that then comes back to Earth and lands on its own. And also NASA is actually taking their very first steps to develop new technologies and capabilities to send astronauts further into space than ever before. So, furthermore, NASA has a lot of ongoing projects which is very likely to cause the complexity in their environment. So, as we all know, ever since their main project mission, which is the Space Shuttle program back in 2010, ever since it ended, NASA has lost their direction for a bit, but they have now charted a new trajectory, which includes possible new goals like getting to an asteroid by 2025 and putting astronauts on Mars by 2030. So, lastly, NASA's complex environment is also due to the demands from stakeholders. So, they ought to balance arising demands from stakeholders like the federal government, international partners, private sector such as Space Exploration Technologies Corp, also known as SpaceX, and public expectations. For the next question, how does complexity affect structural choice in NASA? The way I see it, NASA's structural choice would most likely be the Matrix project structure due to the high organization complexity and its ongoing and upcoming projects. So, to begin, what does Matrix project structure means? Matrix is a structure that assigns specialists from different functional areas to work on projects who then return to their areas when the project is completed. On the other hand, project is a structure in which employees continuously work on projects, and as one project is completed, employees move on to the next project. Some of the advantages of practicing the matrix project structure in an organization is it is a very, very fluid and flexible design that can respond to unpredictable changes, as well as encouraging quicker decision making during emergencies, which would most likely happen in NASA. So, I really do think that the matrix project structure is very, very suitable for NASA for its own structural choice because, as mentioned in the case application provided, NASA is actually aware of how crucial the organizational structure is to manage the talented people that they have in their organization to allow, enhance, and encourage the sharing of knowledge among the community. So, apart from that, the case application has also mentioned that NASA has multiple goals. NASA has multiple projects going on and also to be expected, which are getting to an asteroid by 2025, putting astronauts on Mars by 2030, and not to mention their last project back in 2010, which ended, which is also known as the Space Shuttle program. So from here you can tell that NASA holds a lot of projects in the timeline that they have, and they also conduct a lot of activities at the very same time, which makes me think that the matrix project structure is very, very suitable for them since it's going to involve many amateurs from different departments working on one project, and it could also help to ensure that they achieve the best outcomes from the projects or goals that they set. Okay, so as for the last question, using Exhibit 7-12, what suggestions would you make to managers at NASA about being a learning organization? Write this in a bulleted list format that you could distribute as a handout. So some of the suggestions that I would make to NASA's managers about being a learning organization would be using knowledge management, encouraging experimentation, and also investing in training. So first of all, what does knowledge management mean? Knowledge management is actually the process of organizing, creating, and sharing an organization's information assets to improve efficiency and saving knowledge. For instance, I think NASA's managers could actually consider fostering cross-departmental collaborations in order to help break down silos among departments or among the organization employees, and it could also help to ensure that knowledge sharing and integration of expertise is carried out among members of various departments. Furthermore, I also think that NASA managers could encourage experimentation in the projects that they carry out by conducting perhaps small-scale experiments or projects with calculated risk instead of fully implementing the idea. So the point of this is to ensure that the employees are safe during the process of testing out their ideas and to utilize resources efficiently to avoid wasting the limited resources that they might have, and at the very same time prevent tragic accidents that may involve unaffordable consequences. Moreover, I suggest that NASA managers can also invest in training. So by investing in training, I mean that they can focus on offering more ongoing leadership and personal development workshops or seminars to keep their own employees updated with the latest technologies and methods utilized in this era of modern high-tech. NASA managers can also consider including more chances open to the public, because I think that the public should have an equal opportunity of gaining such knowledge. For example, NASA can provide learning opportunities to educators, scholarships for undergraduates, and also taking in internships. Feel free to scan the QR code provided on this slide in order to further enhance your knowledge on this topic and increase your understanding on the questions that we've just discussed. Last but not least, thank you for taking the time to watch our presentation, and I hope you have a nice day.